I like monkeys.
You like monkeys?
I like monkeys.
Okay. Do you like zoos?
I love zoos.
Do you like zoos that have monkeys?
I like zoos that have monkeys and baboons and gorillas.
Well, that's a lot of things to see at a zoo.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you today
Yeah.
that you're wrong for liking those things.
No.
Zoos are pure human evil.
No, they're not.
They
Are they really?
mean well.
Welcome to another great episode of Big Spoon.
Little Spoon.
And we're here to talk about why apparently I am evil for liking zoos.
You pure human evil.
What?
Okay, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so okay. Let's say you take a human,
Okay.
all right? He's living his best human life.
Yes.
And you take that human and you put him in a basement room such as this and they're not allowed to leave. What's going to happen to that person?
I'm going to be a little lonely.
Okay. Probably.
Do I get fed?
Yeah, you get fed.
Cool. Do I get to play stuff?
Not with like a computer, but we'll throw in like a toy or something for you.
Okay.
And other humans are going to walk around and just stare at you all day. Okay?
Yes.
Now, let's say they introduce some random lady human. Now, you've been in this cage for years.
Yeah.
You're all horned up. You don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's get it on.
Okay.
So you and lady human, don't even think of it. You're thinking about your wife right now. Okay. It's not her. Think of somebody else.
Bro.
Somebody else. You don't even know this person.
Okay.
She could be hideously ugly.
Oh.
She could be amazingly gorgeous.
Okay.
You never know. And
Yeah.
you two are basically like, well, we're stuck here. So let's make the best of it.
Yeah.
Now you have a baby.
Yes.
She's ripped away from you. The baby's ripped away from you. All three of you are put in 3 separate spots.
Why?
Well, they're got to go to separate places. This is not an analogy.
They don't tell me why.
They don't tell you why. You have no idea.
But I'm a human.
It doesn't matter.
I understand
Okay,
words.
these are aliens. Whatever. Anyway, you can't understand them. They're hyper-intelligent squids from the year 2427. Now, the baby is now put in its own little cage, and people just stare at it and gawk at it and blah, blah, blah all day.
Yeah.
And then the baby grows up. Baby has no idea what life is like on the outside world. You did, but you're dead now. You
Why
died.
did I die?
Oh, at some point in the baby's lifespan.
Okay.
And now the cycle just continues and repeats. And at one point they say, well, when there's enough human babies in the world, we'll release them back to the wild. But they never do, because if you release them back to the wild, they're not going to be ready to prepare to go back to society. They're too encaged. They know life on the inside too much, and there's nothing that can be done about it.
Oh, okay.
This went way too far.
Wow. So
Okay.
that's it. That's the end of the episode. Don't go to zoos.
Okay, so it sounds really horrible when you think about it. Humans are social creatures, right?
Yeah.
Yes, intelligently we are on a different level from animals, but
Yeah.
if a more intelligent race were to come around, we wouldn't think that way, right? They would think of us like we do of, dumb squid people from 2720. I don't know. You know what I mean. We would think that way about an ant on the ground.
Sure.
As they think about us, and we think about this giant alien overlord that's captured us and put us in the
So,
cages.
hold on a second. My cats, they live in captivity. You're telling me my cats are unhealthy.
They're domesticated. So they're used
Different.
to... Cats have been in captivity for hundreds and thousands of years. It's almost become ingrained into their system is to love humans.
Okay.
Same with dogs. So dogs all came from wolves, right? Cavemen would sit out by the fire and pick apart the bones of whatever they had, and they would throw it into the woods for the wolves. Eventually, the wolves would come closer and closer to the food. The humans would give them a little bit of food. The dogs would also get some of the warmth, and in return, they'd help protect the humans. So really, we've lived this almost symbiotic relationship with them for a long time.
Okay, so it works out.
That's different.
And then we started
Those animals are
changing the way that
domesticated. Well,
wolves look
nowadays, we don't want to see dogs and cats and squirrels. They're boring. I want to see a mother duck and giraffe. So let's steal one and put it inside of this zoo.
Cool.
I'm being very aggressive about this.
So why can't we just domesticate a giraffe?
You can, but it takes a very long time.
Okay.
Because it's not just that one giraffe, it's every giraffe that comes after that giraffe. Also, why would you want giraffes just walking around outside in your neighborhood?
Can you get that?
So
Can you reach that for me?
So the point of this whole thing, in case you weren't sure,
Yeah.
I was talking about a zoo the entire time.
I got it. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I did.
Good. Just in case.
I was
any of you
afraid
out
that
there-
I wasn't going to be in a zoo, though. I thought he was like getting prepared, like I'm sending you to the zoo.
It turns out you're in Des Moines.
What?
I don't know. Okay. All right. We had enough city bashing in our last episode.
We did.
Love Des Moines. All right. So the thing is that animals in zoos, they live a life of compromise.
Yeah.
Right? They've evolved mentally and physically to live in their normal environment. They have no choice now. The animal does not get a choice. It has to live here. And so an animal that might be used to climbing, swimming, whatever it may be, can no longer do those things in captivity.
Yeah.
And yes, there are zoos out there that try to build a nice place for these animals to really be in. Whatever you want to call it, a cage, containment. Doesn't matter how pretty you make it sound.
Yeah.
It's only going to be so big, and it's only going to make the animal so bored. And so this is sort of becoming a problem because there are these inherent instincts that these animals want to carry through and live out that they simply can't. And so zoos make the argument for like endangered species. We're trying to save this species. But realistically, let's say it's 100, 200, 300 years from now and we finally saved pandas. You can't just release, after generations and generations of being in the wild, what's to say that panda civilization is going to go back into the world and survive? It's completely different when you finally release them.
Their food comes from... Okay, so I get it. Their food comes from someone handing it to them. They don't know how to go out there and find their own food if they know that, well, this is... I usually get fed on the left corner... the left corner, and I get my food there, and then I go and I go do something over here.
Yeah.
But they don't have that. It's all out in the open, so they're going to probably be confused.
Yeah. So they don't have enough... they just don't have enough... It doesn't simulate the wild enough, having these zoos.
It's a little more synthetic.
And I get it when you're saving an animal. Like, this turtle has been injured. They can't survive in the wild. Completely understand that, because now you're giving this turtle more of a life than it would have in the wild.
Yeah.
But not every animal you see in a zoo is in rehab like that. A lot of them are born in captivity. Hence why I took your son away in our little thought experiment. Is that he was born in activity. He doesn't understand the real world at all.
So places that, like, I would think that, like, aquariums might be a little bit different is, like, maybe not all of them, but I know that some places, Atlantis Marine World, do you remember that place?
On Long Island, yeah.
Where they would get rescued sea turtles or
Yes.
rescued seals, and they would rehabilitate them before putting them out in the wild. And you could see part of that area.
Yeah.
But that area was actually separate from the rest of it, where, like, they just had
Yes.
the regular animals that, like, they could just raise in captivity because it's just an aquarium. I mean, there are, of course, sharks. They had sharks there.
I think it's a little bit different with an aquarium. I'm sure I honestly, I didn't find much research on this. So it is an interesting thought, is the mental health of fish in an aquarium.
But it's fish.
Yeah, fish. Well, sharks are fish.
They did have an
but
octopus, though.
They had an octopus. Did he have 7 tentacles? Have you not seen Finding Dory? Oh my
7
goodness.
tentacles.
Yeah, it's a septopus. There's an octopus. There's an octopus in the movie that only has 7 tentacles.
Oh,
he's
I remember.
played by Ed O'Neill.
Yes,
The grumpy
I
dude
didn't
from
realize
Modern
he had
Family.
7.
So what they found is that these animals started to develop what they jokingly call zoocosis, which is basically psychosis formed by the confinement of being in a zoo. So there was this polar bear. This is a really good example. This is at the Central Park Zoo. That they found was doing figure eights for 12 hours a day.
Just
Just swimming in a figure eight. And so
That's like those seals sometimes. I see them do that.
yeah, it wasn't. It's not a behavior you would normally see in the wild. It's the stress of being in here. I can't do what I want to do. I don't know how to get my energy out. I'm just going to swing in circles. And so they actually started doing behavioral therapy. They started giving the polar bear Prozac.
Wow.
And it was nicknamed the bipolar bear, which is somewhat comical.
My God.
Some animals they found in the zoo will develop, and I'm going to butcher this, trichotillomania, which is repetitive hair plucking.
Yep.
Or they would start regurgitating and re-eating their food.
Just for fun.
They just don't know what to do. And so the stress is...
That's crazy.
It's not good for animals, and you'll see it. I see it all the time with even domestic animals, right? Dogs. So our friend Ian has Australian Shepherds. An Australian Shepherd is meant to herd sheep, but it doesn't have any sheep to herd. Doesn't know what to do. This thing will circle its other two dogs like crazy, just circling for hours because it doesn't know what to do.
That's like Pepper, always needing to chew. Chew. Always chewing.
Yeah, so signs like that, those behaviors are signs of a nervous dog. It means it needs to get more energy out. It's not getting enough energy out of the day. Your dog's somewhat young, too.
She's she's like mellowing out.
Exactly.
Big time. Like she used to never just sleep on your lap. After a while, she'll chew, 'cause she loves chewing. But then she'll stop and she'll just be like, oh my gosh. And then wake up for no random noise at all. Just be like, Rrr!
Yeah. Cat hit 3 before she finally calmed down. Now she sleeps 12. She sleeps 12 hours a day.
Love it.
And then at night too. She's not awake all that much.
Yeah.
But she just wants to snuggle and be loved, and hey, that's fine.
When we got Pepper, you can tell she had been in a cage for most of her life because she had bald spots. So she spent a lot of time, and so she will sleep in her crate, which is great.
Yeah.
But then, when we first got her, it was just go. And when you weren't, letting her go, and then she would zoomies.
Yeah.
And it was like a figure 8, and stop.
I always found the big cats at the zoo to be the most interesting. Okay. Because when they're there, they're either pacing, there's a tiger at the Philly Zoo. This guy just likes to pace back and forth from the windows. Or... they're just staring at you. And they're just quietly staring right at you.
Wow.
And if this is the wild...
you'd be eaten.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're already done. They know they can't get to you.
Yeah.
You know they can't get to you. How much stress do you think that animal is just sitting there knowing I should be able to eat you?
Yeah.
And I can't. And I'm just stuck staring. Which is very stressful for these animals. So what zoos have started to do, and I got to read a little bit about this, is they're trying to practice enrichment type activities, giving them certain foods or brain teasers to help them to help keep their mind quiet and get some more energy out. And it's actually they found it created 53% in improvement.
So they notice that this is a problem. The zoos
are understanding this is a problem.
Okay. So it's not it's they're just the worst, don't visit zoos, because they are trying to make their lives better.
Well, a zoo is still a business. So a lot of zoos will advertise that they give money to environmental protection or protecting animals that are endangered. But the cost of running a zoo is so high that very little of that money actually goes to those things. So yeah, it's fun to go and see the animals, but there are certain animals that really have no business being in a zoo. Especially your bigger safari type animals, your rhino, elephant, giraffes. Really don't have a business being in the zoo. No. Gorillas.
Well, there is a zoo that is around the corner from us. It's the Norristown.
Norristown Zoo. Yeah,
Elm City Zoo, and they have a rhino there, I believe. Or zebra, right? I didn't think about that.
There you go. Yeah. So now you'll have to think about it. That's all I sort of knew and kind of read about this stuff.
That's really interesting. I just, and I'm a nature guy. I've had a sugar glider.
Yeah.
Remember, Bree, she lived for a very long time, too, in captivity. But she actually wasn't, like, they say that you have to keep them in pairs. She wasn't a pairs sugar glider, so she had to be by herself. I did end up having to rehome her after, JJ really took a lot more time. And she had a very loving family next door. When she passed, I just knew that she at least was happy near the end of her life. Yeah. But maybe her captivity, had made it hard, because usually in the wild, those animals, and they're from Australia, they have all those trees to jump from and glide from, and she didn't really glide.
The difference as well is that you have a smaller lifespan in the wild. You're more likely to live longer in captivity.
But you can live fuller.
But yeah, you don't live as full and complete a life as you do.
Mental health is probably a big deal.
So,
and I also had the idea of wanting to do dart frogs. Yeah. For a while, and dart frogs in captivity, when you're getting captive dart frogs, are good, but the fact that still people bring over dart frogs from the wild, and that's hurting their environment there too. Mm-hmm. So I would like to maybe if we're going to do any research, come back to it, is kind of look at not just zoos, but exotic animals that are raised as pets, and see what kind of...
That could be a whole episode. Write that down.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, exotic episodes as pets.
But we'll do a little bit now.
Yeah, let's do a little research. Cool. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Cool. We'll be right back, friends.
Right back.
Listen to Big Spoon and Little Spoon. Hi there, friends. This is Nick Drago, host of Sports with Nick Drago. Yes, that is me. If you like what you're hearing on your current episode of Big Spoon, Little Spoon, yes, you do hear my voice in there as well, and you want to learn more about the sports world, well, I'm your guy. Go to Sports with Nick Drago, type it into any of your search bars on Google, Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, all your favorite podcasting apps, and find our show. We talk about all the sports news and information from the previous week, and give you some info on what's coming up in the next week. You can email me directly at sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, the show is Sports with Nick Drago. Whew! I think I said sports more in that last minute than I have any other time in my life. Thanks, friends, and I look forward to you hearing my voice more. Thank you. And welcome back to the show.
Awesome.
You got some good stuff for me?
I found a little bit of research. I would still go off of basically this captivity of animals and how their health is probably, it is a big concern. Mm-hmm. And from what I've learned, and I didn't really know a lot of this when jumping into it, but I think it also spans not just in the zoos, but animals being taken out of captivity as pets. Yeah. So, and a lot of this I know of just from doing my own research, because I'm always trying to I love, I love pets. I've always loved exotic pets, but maybe some of those decisions aren't the best. You have to do your research before doing it, because you're again taking an animal that would, not really be able to survive if it's not given the same conditions as it had in the wild. I once had and this is my mistake growing up wanting these things, and this is when I was younger. You don't know, maybe you do, but they're in the desert. There are these lizards called horned lizards or horny toads. You know what I'm talking about? They're these special lizards, a little bit flatter. They're very good at camouflaging.
Did you have one?
I had one.
Oh, okay.
And if this never happened, but apparently they have a mechanism that they bleed from their eyes to kind of scare predators away when they're being attacked. So I thought this was the coolest thing, and I wanted one. I was a kid. I'm not like this anymore, and I learned my lesson. Even after Bree, I learned my lesson. Yeah. Because Bree was another one of those situations. But, I didn't know how to care for this thing. I thought it would be the same thing as taking care of a lizard that I had in a knoll, which is easy to take care of because they just eat I had those too.
Can you stop slapping your hand on the table?
sorry.
You do that a lot.
I know. I talk like that. That's why I cross my arms usually.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Because I still do that when I'm talking like this. And I bought the thing crickets and maybe ate a couple of crickets, but it wasn't really the healthiest thing. They like to eat ants. Like, that's their main food source.
Okay.
Bought some ants. That wasn't really easy to take care of, so the ants died. I couldn't keep feeding my thing lizards, so I bought it more crickets, and eventually it got thin, and the crickets overwhelmed it and ate it.
What? The crickets fought back?
The crickets fought back.
That's amazing.
It's...
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Sad because
no. It's sad. Yes.
Animal that should have been taken out, and I was super sad. And I literally always when I was growing up, I always wanted like cool looking animals. I was just that kid, and I loved watching Animal Planet, but I didn't think of what that would cause.
Yeah.
So how about this one? We were talking about fish before. Mm-hmm. Remember after Finding Dory came out?
Yes. Oh, I know where you're going with this.
And then people like fished for that fish, the Dory fish, and they had to have blue tangs.
Yep.
And they did like really bad damage to their populations because everyone had to have one. Maybe they didn't necessarily know how to take care of them, so a lot of them were just dying.
Yeah, clownfish
too.
as well with Finding Nemo, because people wanted those exotic fish.
They can be bred in captivity, but it's easier just to go and scoop up a couple on the reef and then call it a day.
That's a good point.
And then one other thing is like slow lorises. This is kind of like going slow loris. You know those little?
Yeah.
And they're like remember the video, the one with like the umbrella, and it takes the umbrella. And it's like.
Can you pull up like a picture, a slow loris?
Yeah. And this is the biggest one ever.
Oh, that thing's cute as hell.
I know it looks like a lemur as hell.
You can have these as pets.
People, you can't. They take them as pets. They are illegal. They actually have venom.
Really? I'm gonna look at this later. I'm gonna learn about slow lorises later.
But they actually have venom in their claws, and the only way for them to be kept in captivity, because that would be really bad for you if you got caught with that, is they declaw them.
Just like cats too.
And they stopped doing that one. But they do that, so these people that have slow loris as a pet, you don't realize like, wow, that's really messed up for those poor animals. So anyway, that's just stuff I remembered.
Are you ready to be super depressed?
I'm already a little sad.
Okay, this is it. This is going to be like, I'm going to knock in the home run.
Okay.
You're all going to want to stop going to zoos.
Okay.
So, first off.
I'm definitely like a 3 smile right now.
A 3 smile. A negative 2 smile from our last week's episode. Yeah. As a result of boredom and lack of stimulation or enrichment, animals in zoos oversleep, overeat, and show signs of severe frustration and mental instability. Right? Some behaviors include pacing in regimented circles, bar biting, air biting, rocking, swaying, head bobbing, over-grooming, and self-mutilation. Those are all behaviors observed in human suffering from mental illness. And never are those behaviors observed in wild animals.
Wow.
So, a study from Oxford University found that 40% of elephants in zoos display those repetitive behaviors.
That's immediately what I was thinking of.
40%.
I literally pictured elephants like doing this.
Yep. And it gets even worse.
I thought that was them playing.
This is what really depressed me. 75% of primates held in captivity die within the first 20 months. Many times due to depression and psychological problems.
Wow.
As soon as I read that, I don't know if I can ever go to a zoo again.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty sad.
But don't they rescue them? Don't they try and rescue them from like being like poached and
75% of them don't make it because of the stress of being in this wild. I mean, chimpanzees. Just looking at chimpanzees, which I think 98 or 99 point something % of their DNA is similar to humans. It's very close. But they're very social creatures. I mean, imagine if I just picked you up and threw you in the middle of a new civilization, new people, new everything. And what do you do? I mean, it's
Yeah.
there's a lot of stress and anxiety that comes from that. And so these are the things that these animals are experiencing in the zoo. So I'm done depressing everybody for today.
Gosh.
Yep. So
How do we make it better?
I stopped going, so they stopped having zoos. And maybe one day, I think one day what you might start to see is similar to how like some of the circuses, instead of having animals, they do now like projections of animals. So it's a little bit more whimsical, and you're not putting elephants at harm by having this. That could be a thought maybe for zoos, is have some kind of like 3D. It's still a spectacle to come and see, but you're saving these animals from a lifelong of captivity.
I mean,
life lived in captivity.
Maybe less zoos, and zoos that primarily focus on actually helping out animals that can no longer be able to live in the wild. I would still assume that part of what zoos are still try and do good.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like you said, they mean well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But maybe stop trying to make it like it really is so much of a business. Keep the business, but keep it small scale.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can stop that from happening now.
You don't
since
need,
they're so
you
large
don't
scale,
need
but
to have giraffes, elephants, monkeys. You don't need that stuff in a zoo.
unless it's like this giraffe will die in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. No.
All right.
All right, well then.
Okay.
Get some Prozac out. Make yourself a little happier now, like the bipolar bear.
Ooh.
If you liked what you heard today, you can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio, Podbean. Just type in Big Spoon, Little Spoon. We're on Twitter at Big Little Spoon. And
wehateforks@gmail.com.
You can email us.
Post any topics you'd like us to talk about on there, and
Yep.
we'll be happy to bring that up in the next batch of episodes.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. And you have yourselves a fun smile day. We're doing that again?
I think it's funny.
Okay, have yourself a 5-smile day. Is this our new thing? Is smiling?
Maybe.
All right, have yourself a 5-smile day.
I just thought that was really funny.
It was, but that was like a whole episode ago.
Okay, never mind.
All right, never mind. Goodbye.